Hello my aristocrats, I hope you're all doing well today. Coming back at you with another one of these videos, and today I wanted to talk about hanging around other people who are on self-improvement and what that is going to do for you. So the one problem that I notice about a lot of people within the self-improvement community is that it's very hard to find people in person who also hold these same beliefs and also hold these same values and also want to better themselves and improve themselves, especially when it comes to things like NoFap, which is a more niche part of the self-improvement community, of course. Sometimes talking about that kind of stuff is so taboo. It's such a taboo subject to talk about publicly for whatever reason. People will make fun of you for it, and etc. And so oftentimes it can be very hard to find a community to talk about these things with. But the thing is that once you have that community, your self-improvement journey will skyrocket, because then you have other people that are coming into your life and helping you and giving you all of the advice that you need in order to better your streaks, in order to better your self-improvement journey, in order to better whatever kind of practice that you're doing. So that said, in the description below, I'm going to link my Discord server. It's a great community. I have a lot of people in there, about 120 people and growing, who are part of NoFap and part of general self-improvement, who want to improve themselves and who want to become the best versions of themselves. And so if you're struggling to find a community online or in person who believes in self-improvement, who believes in trying to better themselves and become the best version of themselves, then come to my server. It would greatly behoove you to do so, and you will find people who will better you and give you advice to further you along, as well as to encourage you and keep you accountable on your journey. That said, time to get into the general topic, which is the benefits of having those kind of people in your life. Having people who believe in self-improvement and who believe in bettering oneself in your life. So the benefit of this is that you have a sort of accountability net. When you're doing self-improvement on your own, when you start self-improvement and you're doing this on your own, it can be very difficult, especially if you don't have a community. Like me, when I first started self-improvement at the age of 19, I didn't have anybody to talk about this with. Even when I tried to talk about this stuff with my friends, especially the more taboo topics like NoFap, they would laugh at me. Now, they're all on NoFap, or they're all trying to do NoFap, so I guess I won in the end, but in the beginning, they weren't too receptive of it. That said, however, if you're doing this alone, it's so much harder. I remember when I first discovered NoFap and when I first discovered self-improvement, and I was talking about this stuff, and people were kind of waving me off or getting like laughs out of me or whatever. It was very difficult because you didn't really have many people to talk about this with. And this was back when self-improvement and NoFap especially were more niche topics, and they weren't as popular as they are now. Now, of course, self-improvement in general has become a lot more popular, but back then it was not what it is now. It's become more mainstream now, and so it's a little bit easier to talk about this kind of stuff now. But back then, like 2018, 2019, this stuff was not mainstream at all. This was like talking about something really taboo. Like I can't even compare it to anything, but it was a pretty taboo subject back then. But now, of course, it's a little bit easier, though even still, it's still a little bit hard to find that community. And so once you do have that community, and once I got that community, or once I found that tribe of people that was believing the same thing and wanted to do the same things as me and wanted to better themselves, it became so much easier. Because one of the first benefits that I noticed was that I finally had accountability. Well, I was taking accountability before, and I had self-discipline, and I developed a lot of self-discipline out of all those years of trying to do it myself. But once I had a community, it became so much easier, because now you had other people that knew about your journey. And not only did they know about your journey, but when you relapsed or when you failed in your journey, they would hold you accountable and say, hey, the next time you better make it like this amount of days or something like that. So you had somebody that was kind of keeping you accountable, and somebody who was making sure that you were doing your daily habits that you're supposed to be doing, or getting rid of certain toxic habits or whatever your journey entails. So that was the first major benefit. But the second thing is that you also got to learn about other people's stories. And once you got to learn about other people's stories, you kind of get to realize that you're not alone in this. Oftentimes, despite the fact that we consciously know that we're not alone, and we consciously know that other people are suffering from many of the same ailments that we are, it kind of makes us feel a little bit better to know what other people stories are. Because when you know their stories and when you know exactly what they're going through, then even just subconsciously you feel a little bit more at ease, because you feel, okay, I'm not the only one. I have somebody that I can relate to. I have somebody who shared this struggle with me, or I have somebody who went through this just like I did. And so that just makes things a whole lot easier along your self-improvement journey. And it made things a lot easier for me. It makes things a lot easier for anybody, because humans are social creatures. So despite the fact that it's a little bit more difficult to find that community, it's still worth finding. And as I said, if you're having those difficulties, and if you're having difficulty finding that community, the link to my Discord server is going to be in the description down below. So definitely give that a look and definitely give it a try. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated, because this is a growing channel. But that said, that's going to be all for this one. Thank you for your time, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.